Robertson. Oh, she's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeannie Robertson.
Okay. Hey, everybody. And this is Jeannie Robertson, and we are on our back porch, my back porch and my husband's left brain's back porch in North Carolina. And we have a special day and treat for y'all. This is the 53rd weekend that we've done this. And I said I would do it until COVID was gone. And I'm thrilled to be doing this, but we finished the first year last year and we're starting again. I don't know how long it's going on, but we are having fun. So that's what matters. Let me do a couple of housekeeping things because we do want to have as much time as we can for our special guest. First of all, I want to thank Kay Francis for last weekend. She just went over and beyond, and all of the members of the National Speakers Association know Kay, and she sent us 5 clips that she just put together with her friend Polly Podcaster and hit a home run. And Kay, we appreciate that and got a lot of nice comments on everything. The next thing is thanks everybody who listened to the pop-up Thursday night. And that was a tornado that hit as we were doing the pop-up. I never knew it. I just kept going on. And then we finally went off and then I went to bed. And Tony sitting back there the next day was telling me all about it. And the truth is, I didn't know it was a tornado. I just went to bed because I had to be on Neil Steele's show. Thanks again, Neil Steele, for having me on your radio show yesterday. That was loads of fun. And the first thing we do every week, just to make sure we have everybody's attention, is to give away some prizes. So I'm going to draw down, and if your name is called right now, they'll put it up on the screen, and you write Tony at JeannieRobertson.com and tell them whether you want the book autographed to you, a friend, you know the routine, or you can select a hat, all the kind of stuff we have. And if you've got everything that we have, get something and give it to somebody else. We'll sign it to them. And these are the names from the month of March only. We don't do it by the year because we had 6 or 7 sacks sitting around us and it just got absurd. So this is the first person to win a prize today. And this person is Cindy Touchton, Touchton. And Cindy, I don't know where you're from, but it says, oh, yes, I do. Hello from Florida. We're up and going and so forth. You win your choice of prizes. You got that name, Tony? And the other prize we're going to give. All right. This does not any prize except the audio book. That's a special prize. We'll give that later. And I won't tell you we have prizes from our guests, too. So I'll just have to hold that a minute. And this is the winner, Cindy Nichols Mintz, Mintz. Cindy Nichols Mintz. Okay. And that's it for the logistics on today's show. And now I want to introduce you to my special guest. Which one of the accolades should I say first or what to do? She's seated here on the back porch next to me along with a few friends. And what a career. 6 decades in singing. You're shaking your head. Since 1967, a member of the Grand Ole Opry. She transcends time and shows how it keeps going because she was a Grammy winner in 1966. And yet, here we are in the year 2021, and she just released a single from her new album. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. And will you please welcome excuse me, I was going to go to another person. I'm so excited you're here. Will you welcome, please, Jeannie, like I can forget that name, Jeannie Seely. Everybody, yay!
All vaccinated.
I know. Everybody here has been vaccinated. That's what
I said. I don't feel totally bulletproof, but I do feel like I'm wearing a vest.
Okay. You look.
We're good. We're happy. And thank you for inviting me to come to this show. I love you. You know that. Every time I come in the Opry, it's just a delight. And by the way, I heard you're coming back.
I am. I think I'm going to be there April 23rd and 24th. Just got the word. But this is the question that one of the first questions that we got so quickly was, how do you know her? Because they know I don't sing. I don't play a musical instrument.
And I don't speak.
Well, we do our, but I tried to sing it to Miss America, and they wrote down that it was comedy, and I was singing the best I could. So here's what happened, and to me, it introduces the kind of person you are. When I was asked to come on the Opry and be funny, I was scared. I didn't know anybody. I was standing back there, and you came up and you started talking to me. I know you do that with everybody. I have seen it written, don't you, when you host the show, the first woman to ever host the Grand Ole Opry segment. So
Well,
what's your
I
opinion
do.
on that?
I do like to go because I want that whoever's going to be, performing, I want them to feel as comfortable as they can, because then, of course, you perform better. And the Grand Ole Opry is kind of an intimidating stage. It's just an American institution, and it's not like any other concert venue. So I like to make the artist feel welcome, and they are welcome. I want them to know that. And I like to look at that person before I introduce them, so that when I go out there, I know who I'm introducing, and I try to do my homework. Plus, I've been a fan of yours. So, I was thrilled that you were going to be at the Opry.
Well, let's go back a little bit for the ones that don't know you. And they have sent questions. Most of them know you, Jeannie. I know it. But in reading about you, I was trying to do homework too. You were saying that as a teenager, when your mother and daddy would visit friends, what were you doing?
Oh, my goodness. I would always be listening to the Grand Ole Opry. That was a way of life for us, I remember in the summer nights, and if there was what we called static on the radio, Dad would move the car around. We always had the car battery charged up, just because a lot of times the Opry would come in better in the car. So I can remember summer nights of a blanket out on the ground, the car doors open, and all of us gathered listening to the Opry. And my folks played cards a lot, but that we would always be able to listen. They'd have a radio in another room, and we were all entertained listening to the Grand Ole Opry.
Now tell me, at age 11 and 12, did you dream that you would be, I know you're going to say, oh, I wouldn't. You're a legend in the Grand Ole Opry. Did you dream that you would be on there, or were you just liking the music? Were you singing?
I knew at 8 years old what I wanted to do and where I wanted to do it. I was in third grade, and we did a little show at school, and I sang a little song, and I saw the kids smiling, and I saw them applaud, and the feeling that it gave me, it was like, this is what I want to do. And of course, like I said, still listening to the Grand Ole Opry. And when I was 11, as I recall, the song that I sang the first time on the radio at 11 was the Webb Pierce song called The Bat Street Affair. Real appropriate for an 11-year-old, I didn't know. I didn't care what the lyrics were about. I was on the radio and I was singing.
Were you pretending that you were on the radio when you were singing at that age?
Oh, when I was younger, yeah. One of the family stories was my dad was building what he wanted to make a chicken coop. And my mother didn't want chickens. She said they were nasty, so she didn't want them. So while they were arguing about whether or not there was going to be a chicken coop, I kind of moved in and made it a playhouse. So when I won, then Dad went in and he built some partitions in it. So I had a kitchen, a living room, and all this. Well, then later, my brother and I tore the partitions down and built a stage. And we had a clothesline and sheets for our curtains. So yeah, it's been a way of life.
But you were in Pennsylvania, and I know, unless this is not correct from the last several months or something, you're the only person from the state of Pennsylvania that has been inducted into the Grand Ole Opry. Is that correct?
One of the guys from Diamond Rio, Gene Johnson, is from Pennsylvania.
Well, how old is he?
Yeah. Well, much younger.
I know. You were the first one.
Count.
He does not
He
count.
don't even count.
Well, this is your birthday year. One of your, I know we have one every year, but this is a biggie.
Yeah. I had my 80th birthday, and that was July 6th of 2020, but we were going to close in 2020. So, I mean, I'm lying. I carry it out for a year. I don't care whether we have a COVID or not, So I'm celebrating being 80 until July 6th, and then I will start celebrating being 81.
Go, girl. I love it. I'm right behind you, not too far behind you, but you have made a statement, and I'm wondering if this is something that you intentionally did, or you realized you were doing, or it just evolved that way. You've made quite a statement for women in your profession. You were the first woman to do a lot of things. Do you want to tell where you did when these things were happening? Well, you're the first woman that wore a mini skirt on stage at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, I will go down in history of wearing the mini skirt. The relevance of the mini skirt wasn't the skirt itself. It was just that I wore something different. It could have been something else. It was probably a little more sensational because the skirt was short. But I had never been to the Grand Ole Opry until I was a performer there. I'd grown up listening to it, but I'd never been there. And I had seen pictures of all the girls, and they wore the gingham check ruffles, and I just thought that's what they wanted to wear. Nobody ever told me if there was a dress code. So I had moved to Nashville from LA, and everybody was wearing the really short skirts out there. So I wore what I was wearing and caused a sensation. But what happened then after that, when I got away with that broke down that barrier, so that all the other girls, come to find out, they didn't want to wear the ruffles either, but they thought they had to. And so when I got away with changing it, then after that, then they came in. I know Jan Howard started wearing more tailored classic looks of Jan's. Jean Shepherd went to some sequins, and everybody went to different things.
Did they call you in to talk to you about it? Did they really?
Mr. Devine, the manager of the Opry, called me in, and I'm like, what is it you want to talk to me about?
Scared you.
He was so nervous about the subject. He was stammering around. I'm like, finally, I'm like, you're talking about the skirt, and all that. So anyway, the end of the discussion, I explained to him, I said, I didn't realize I was breaking any rules. But this is a new style. It's spreading everywhere. And I said, I'll tell you what, I won't, if you don't let anybody come in the front door wearing a mini skirt, I won't wear one in the back door. And he just like, okay,
because they were coming in the front door with them on.
They were coming in the front door, and he said, okay, we'll just try to hold it down. I'm like,
they didn't even know you, Jeannie. Right. What was to come.
Yeah, they used to tell me Mr. Acuff said, well, Mr. Acuff doesn't like him. Like, Mr. Acuff doesn't like the short skirts. I'm like, so he doesn't want to see your knees, but he doesn't mind the plunging neckline. Somebody explain that to me.
Well, now the Grand Ole Opry, because I had been to the Opry before I was invited. I mean, I didn't dream of being, since the talent, I didn't dream that I would be up there. But there's segments of the Grand Ole Opry, and each segment has a host that introduces people for 30 minutes, something like that. So let's see, how many women were hosting those segments when you started? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm trying to show what your classy way of handling things opened the doors for a lot of people.
Well, a lot of people didn't realize that women were not allowed to host a portion of the Grand Ole Opry. And it was like, why? And I kept asking that, and they would say, well, it's tradition. How Durham would always kind of just nervously jingle his change. And he said, it's a tradition, Jeannie. And I said, Yeah, but it sure smells like discrimination. And so every manager that came along, I'd make an appointment. I'd go into the office and discuss it. And, I would lay out my reasoning, and I'd say, well, you're ignoring 50% of your audience, and you're ignoring 50% of your talent pool, or, well, maybe a third of the talent pool, because we've always been outnumbered by the men. But finally, when Bob Whitaker came in as manager, and Bob had been manager of Opryland Park, he was used to all those production shows out there had. Everybody had a microphone, everybody had a speaking part and a singing part, whatever. So he was just looking at me. He didn't even realize that women couldn't host. And so finally he said, okay, Seely, I'm going to run you out there. But he said, if you better be able to do the job. If you don't, we're both in trouble. And so I've always done my homework. I resented the way we were introduced also. It wasn't just that I thought it was wrong that we weren't allowed to host. And I guess I thought I could do a better job of it, because I didn't like the way I was introduced or the other girls. They would say the same thing about all of us because they didn't care to research anything. It was always, here's a cute little girl got on a pretty little outfit. Oh, come on out here and,
sing us your song, honey.
Exactly. And so anyway, I thought I will never ever introduce anybody like that. I want to know what they have done. And my point to the manager too was, that's not an introduction. We are taught when you introduce two people, you tell each one of them something about the other one so that they can interact. Well, these guys were going out there saying their opinion of your outfit. They weren't telling the audience anything about him. So anyway, that was very important to me and remains very important to me.
Well, but when I think you did it you were persistent and did it in a classy way and got it changed. And maybe even some of the young women on the Opry don't realize it's always been, that it was that way at one time. But when you got there, you won a Grammy for Don't Touch Me. Was that it? Mm-hmm. Now you are also a songwriter. You're an avid songwriter. You love to write songs.
And I'm getting back into, it's one thing the pandemic has done. It has slowed my touring down like everybody else. So I've had a little bit more time to think about writing again. But yeah, I wrote a song. Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania, moved to California, not to get in show business. I was leaving Northeast winters. So,
your car broke down and you couldn't get home. Something.
No, actually what happened is my first car was a 1958 MGA Roadster. Okay. My very first car. And I buried it in a snowdrift on Easter Sunday and had to walk home, and all the way thinking, there's got to be someplace else to live where you don't have to do this. And I had seen Southern California on TV and looked pretty good to me. So then another girl had moved away, and she moved back home, and she was driving a 1960 Austin Healey. Wow. And I'm like, oh boy, she's running circles around me. But we became really good friends. And so we drove those two sports cars to California.
Oh my God.
So anyway, when I got out there, I realized that what I had been doing my whole life, and everybody told me was great for a hobby, but you couldn't make a living. There were people making a living doing that. So that's where I got into that. I quit my job at the bank, took a job at Liberty Imperial Records, Metric Music, and started learning how to be in show business.
When did you hear about the cars they were driving in Nashville? Some of them had better cars than that. One of them even had a fire truck. We'll talk about him in a few minutes.
But that's where I first started
Yeah.
to seriously do my songwriting. And the first song I ever had published was a song called Anyone Who Knows What Love Is Will Understand. And I'd stayed after work to use the piano. Eddie Ray, who was an A&R and was producing R&B legend Irma Thomas, was looking for songs for her. And he heard the song, so they took it to Irma, and she recorded. She had a what we called top 40 hit back then, as well as a top R&B hit. And
Wow.
I'm sitting there in amazement because I thought I was just a little old country songwriter. How'd they do this with my song? But then I actually forgot all about the song as I went on with my career and everything. I thought it was dated. It wasn't something that would fit. And then I was doing an album called Written in Song, and it was 14 songs that I had written, but I'd never recorded. And so Ron Harmon, my adopted little brother, said, well, you've got to do Anyone, because that started it all. I had to Google my own song because I couldn't remember it. So I Googled it. I'm like, who are all these people that have recorded my song? And what's this television show called The Black Mirror and it's still running. It's a series in England. And they played my song over and over in it. And so...
Did they send you royalties all the way from England?
Oh, listen, let me tell you what. Somebody mentioned to me, said, you've got to be happy about all that mailbox money, as we call it now, where you just, and I said, excuse me. I'm a very tech-savvy senior, I'll have you know. I call it DD money. It's direct deposit. I ain't walking that mailbox. Not now.
But you had a Grammy in '66.
Yeah.
And you want to tell us about,
that was only the third Grammy ever presented in country music. The
Wow.
very first year, Bobby Bear won in 1963 for Best Country Record. That was it. They didn't even consider a female, I guess. Maybe she could. But then in 64, Dottie West won for Here Comes My Baby Back Again. 65, Jody Miller won for Queen of the House, the female version of the King of the Road. And then mine was in 66. So it's only the third female performance.
And that put you were back in Nashville.
Yes, I moved to Nashville in the fall of 65.
And were they just welcoming you to jump on stage at the Grand Ole Opry?
Mm-hmm.
Or I know, but
and I couldn't afford to buy a ticket.
But you were the next year, 67, you inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It was amazing. Just recently, actually, in March 12th, it was 55 years ago that I recorded Don't Touch Me.
Wow.
And it hit really pretty fast. I was, in one way that was good, but in another, I didn't have a chance to build a team. I didn't have a wardrobe. I wasn't set up for a hit record. So I kind of been in shambles.
But think of the
ever
people that
since.
got set up and never got that hit record.
There you go.
Could I ask a
I'll
question?
take it.
Sure.
So as a songwriter, I'm just curious, how long did it take you to write that song? Because some people say it took them 10 minutes. Some people say it took 10 years.
The very first one,
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with it and at home probably for several days with it. And that's why I thought I didn't have a piano, and I'm not fluent on guitar like you. So I was struggling with that. I couldn't. So that's why I stayed. And then Randy Newman is a co-writer on that and fabulous songwriter.
Oh, yeah.
Did he write Short People?
Yes, he did.
I'll never forget it.
But Randy was just starting out back then. And I saw Randy come in the hall, and I'm like, because I'm not a musician. I hear these melodies. I hear the chords, but I have no idea what they are. So I holler, so Randy, come in here and help me figure out where this melody's going. What am I hearing? So of course he figured it out in just a matter of minutes. So anyway, to answer your question, once I finally got in there and got that, it was very short time. It just fell together.
And he got a writer's credit on that.
Pardon?
He got a writer's credit on that.
Did.
That was a lucky walk down the hall for old Randy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you a couple. I don't have them. These are some questions that people sent in. They're my loyal people who come in. Oh, no, you can answer. These are you.
Right at the camera for whoever
Which camera is
this
it?
question. This one right here. Okay. What
Okay.
is
Oh, just knock you with the strong one. Linda Glenn. I would like to know, what does Jeannie Seely think of today's country music?
Well, it depends. You know, I feel about today's country music just like I did the eras before me and my era. There's some of it I like and some of it I don't. And I think that anybody who tells the truth would have to admit. I hear a lot of people complain, well, today's music's it's not what we're used to. I hate to tell some of you folks my age, it ain't our era anymore. There's a whole new people, and everybody comes in bringing their own style. Their own, did too. And I did too. I'd like to use the example with all due respect to Kitty Wells, and I admired her and respected her very much. But I didn't want little Roy Wiggins style steel guitar on mine. I wanted Buddy Emmons. I was bringing my sound. And that's what's happening today. And people say there aren't any good songs being written. Excuse me, I'm telling you, there's some great songs being written. Ingrid Andress wrote a song recently. She's one of the new artists that I admire so much, called More Hearts Than Mine. It's saying, okay, but I'm taking you home to meet my family. My mama falls in love quicker than I do. My dad will, mix you a drink, all this. So if you cut out, if you leave, I'll be fine. But you're breaking more hearts.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
So tell me that there isn't any good song.
Oh, no.
Today. You got
that just sends you. All right. Did you, in case people don't know, this is what is wonderful, because you were way back there when I was back there. We were at the same time. And now last summer you released a whole album, and it's a little different. And it's called An American Classic, which in my mind, the more I even read everything you've done for the community, for your profession, everything for yourself, you are an American classic. But that came out last year, and then last summer, I guess it was. And then I want you to tell what's a little bit different about that album. And then you just released the single from that, 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago? Will you tell us about those two?
Well, I was so thrilled. Don Cusick, who is a professor of music at Belmont University in Nashville, called me and said he was going to be out at the Opry. And he said, I want to talk to you about something if you have time. And I said, sure, just meet me in my dressing room after I get off stage. I had no idea what Don was going to talk to me about. I thought maybe it was come out to Belmont and say something to the students or whatever. And I realized that.
Because you could be a great speaker if you wanted to go in that direction. Okay, I interrupted you. Sorry.
But anyway, he said, I would like to produce an album on you. And I'm like, whoa, at this point, my 80th year, I get to record an album, and Curb Records picked it up, which was just amazing. But he said, I want this to be just a record that has talking points that people wouldn't think about. I want you to do something a song, maybe an old pop song that nobody'd expect you to sing. So this album comes from every different direction. And he said, let's put some guests on it. When you live in Nashville, and there are so many incredible artists there, how do you start trying to decide who, and they're all your friends. How are you going to decide who you're going to ask to be on the album with you? So I kind of said, let's just go with my Opry family first. And so that's where I went. Of course, Bill Anderson, one of my dearest friends, and he and Roger Miller wrote a song that I have loved forever called When Two Worlds Collide. And so Bill and I did a duet on that. Another, for a talking point, I did a duet with Waylon Payne. Waylon Payne's mother was Sammy Smith, who was a friend of mine. His dad was Jody Payne, who played guitar with Willie Nelson for 35 years. And when I opened for Willie, Jody was recording an album, and he asked me to do a duet with him. So I stood on so many of those shows singing across the microphone with Jody Payne. Then Waylon is a guest on the Opry. He called me and said, would you sing that duet with me that you sang with my dad? So I did, and listened to playback on Sirius XM. And I thought, you know, our voices blend pretty well. Here we are, generations apart, and saw that there's a talking point. So Waylon and I did Old Flames Can't Hold a Candle to You. But the new single, and the first single, the first single, though, was a duet with Willie Nelson, which, I mean, I had to have.
Did you
Willie
travel and open for him and co-do for 10 years or something?
I did 2 different summers. I opened for Willie on his fair dates all around the country. So, but I met Willie in 1963 back in California again. He came to California to open West Coast Publishing office. And part of my job at Liberty Records was to rent some office space. So that's how I first met him. I, of course, was a fan of his, but that's where I met him.
So you had the song with Willie. And then, I mean, this is also important to me, but then the new song.
The new song is so special to me. My adopted little brother, Ron Harmon, had some Dottie West memorabilia. And in there, he found a journal of Dottie's where she had started this song. And it just struck Ron that this needs to be finished. So he took it to great songwriter Bobby Tomberlin and my Opry brother, Steve Warner, to finish it. And so when the boys finished it, they called me and said, you've got to do this song. If you like it at all, it's just like it's meant for you to do it. The other interesting thing, in that journal, on the inside front cover of the journal, Dottie had written Jeannie Seely, 824-7011, which was my old telephone number that I had had for years and years. Y'all can try dialing it. I don't know who has that number. That might be pretty funny to see. Who?
And explain the Dottie West connection. I want you to do this song, and you said you would, or I would not ask you, but explain that connection and why this was important.
Well, Dottie and I ended up being very, very close friends. When I was growing up in Pennsylvania, she did a show called the Landmark Jamboree out of Cleveland, Ohio. Fast forward years later, I'm in LA, and she comes out to work the Palomino Club. And so of course I'm there front row. And after the show, went up to meet her, and I told her I had been following her career since the Landmark Jamboree. And Dottie just went, the Landmark Jamboree. I don't even remember anybody remembering that show. So we just hit it off, and we just, in fact, later went back to my house and sat and talked and played guitar and sang songs. So our friendship was just an immediate friendship. But
did she tell you to go to Nashville?
Oh,
LA and go to Nashville?
She just encouraged me to move. She said, you've got to move to Nashville. I'm like, I don't know enough to move to Nashville yet. And Dottie said, Nashville is where you learn. And boy, she wasn't kidding.
Yeah.
And as Larry Gatlin sang, and all the gold, it's not what you hear it is. You really learn the music business when you get in the middle of it. And I was so fortunate because with Dottie's help and also Hank Cochran was there, Willie Nelson was there, Ray Price, Roger Miller, Bill Anderson, Harlan Howard. I was so privileged to be able to get right in that mix to learn from. So.
You're leaving out one thing when you give, because I have noticed, and you always give credit, I think, from being a songwriter. Mm-hmm. You always credit people that worked on it, not just yourself, but you had an amazing talent. And that and the songs that came your way perfect for your voice. I can't even talk. But tell them what happened to Dottie.
Well, as some of you might not be familiar, Dottie, of course, was a Grand Ole Opry artist, and this is endearing to me. But I have to tell it because the truth, Dottie was always late, always running late, and unfortunately, she was running late to the Grand Ole Opry, and her car quit. And this nice gentleman, and the movie was so wrong where they depicted how she's walking down this road and some man leering in an old pickup truck picks her up. I'm like, I was just so over that. A really nice gentleman who lived in the same high-rise, beautiful condo complex she lived in happened to drive by and saw, and he said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Yes, drive me to the Opry because I'm running late." So I know exactly, I wasn't in that car, but I can tell you what happened. They're coming down Briley Parkway, and she's saying, "Hurry, we got to hurry." And then she says, "Turn right here." And it's a hairpin exit off at Opryland right there. And as they went off that exit too fast, they could not make the curve. And the accident happened right there. And she... I think they took her to the hospital and she lived 3 days. I had a really bad car accident in 1977, and Dottie was there through the whole thing with me and at the hospital. And one of the most heartbreaking things for me is I sat there at the waiting room at the hospital is that I couldn't do anything for her, So I think that's another thing that this song, being able to finish this song was something she started. So this song means so much to me. It's like when they asked me to sing Here Comes My Baby, Dottie's big hit, at the medallion ceremony when she was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. I was really kind of nervous back there because talk about an intimidating room. They're all the powerhouses of the business. But all of a sudden I realized, standing backstage, what a gift this was for me to be able to finish this journey that Dottie would have made. Had she lived, she would have made that journey into the Hall of Fame on her own. But because of the accident, she didn't get to. And so it was just like this wonderful feeling came over to me, like I get to do this for her. I get to finish with something she started. So here again with this song, I'm kind of feeling that same way, like I get to. She would have gone on and finished the song, and she would have recorded it.
She was thinking, though, that it was what she was for you. If she had your name and number in there, that's to me Well, let me ask you something, because it is an emotional song. I think a lot of people, but it is a wonderful song. You feel like singing it for us right now?
If I can have a sip of water, talk to them for y'all. Excuse me.
Let's see. We have all these people on the porch. Lynn, somebody, Patrick, can we get some water? So she's got water. Oh, I thought. I know it's good. I love this song. I'll let you introduce it, and y'all go ahead. Oh, here's my tablet. I told them how funny you were. We got to get.
We got to get to the funny. You got me all emotional here. And if I don't hit a note, it's because it's still morning. It's late. I wake up every morning, pour my coffee, gather my things, jump right in that same old traffic. Welcome to my routine. And then at work I hear a voice. How you doing? Someone asks. I just go on living, if you can call it that. 5 o'clock rolls around, I meet up with some friends. I try to smile, but all the while it's just pretend. Another glass of wine, few more jokes, I try to laugh. I just go on living, if you could call it that. I'm just going through the motion, half of me still with you. It's like I'm stranded out on the ocean, and you're not there to pull me through. I'm like a child who's lost her way, just can't find her way back. I just go on living, if you could call it that. We finished it. We're good. All right. We lost our music, but we're okay. Thank you so much.
What happened? But you know what? I watched you. No, I watched you and you just kept singing.
Exactly. Whoops. When in doubt, just keep singing. Or tell a joke. Let's tell some jokes.
I love that song.
Thank you. I do too.
And that song, we have a lot of people that listen, and y'all, we have it put up on my website, on my Facebook page, everywhere. You can just punch in and they can even buy it.
Yeah.
The whole album, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
You too can get this.
Well, you can also get it. I mean, I'll put you up on there it is. If you want to buy this album.
What happened? You just went off on its own. It was upset.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer this question, especially on live right now, because I'm a little embarrassed. But if y'all go to JeannieSeely.com, you can buy this album, and I recommend everybody do that because it's really amazing.
Okay, why don't we give?
Yeah.
Why don't we give Jeannie Seely and the name of the American classic? And I'm just going to pull a name here, folks. This is where they say, rummage around on my side of the bucket. Rummage around. Oh, here it is. I did not look.
No.
This person is going to win that. And this person is Sharon Dryden.
Jeannie,
D-R-Y-D-E-N.
turn your mic on. Take your mic off.
Oh, okay. Sharon, right now I turned it off so I wouldn't. Maybe I cut it off. Sharon Dryden, and appropriately she writes, "Thank you." She knew she was going to win.
All right.
Okay.
Good for you.
And
did you cheat, Sharon? I love that.
I know.
Tell
So
me how you
I'm going
did
to
it.
just give this to y'all, and your friends are here, and we can do that. And let me quickly draw one of my things right now. And you're a real pro.
I want to draw one and see if I can win one of those left brain hats from my husband, because I have one of
Well,
those.
Gene Ward, your husband, is here, and I don't know if you know this, but he collects toys. I went over, we talked, we laughed. He has his own fire truck.
Mhm.
He has his own chicken in the yard. Is that correct? It was sitting on the back of you have a little car to drive around? a golf cart, but
cart.
it's painted chartreuse green. And then y'all also have a race car driver. You want to tell us about your nephew?
Well, my nephew is races supercross motorcycles. His name is Ole Seely. He's professional, rides for Honda. But my picture's on a race car, and this is a friend of ours, a young man that's just starting out racing stock cars. And so his granddad worked with Jeanne years ago at Nashville Electric. And so we just said, well, we can be one of the sponsors. And I got a new album, so let's put and then he wrecked, and I was just panicked. I'm like, which fender did he tear out?
Your picture's on one face. Well, you do the singing is what you're known for and everything else. However, I can attest to the fact you're also known. Don't you have a book out on what they call Seelyisms?
Yeah, actually, Dottie West is who named those Seelyisms of things that I would say, and
such as
let's see. Well, what you want the really bad one, the most popular one from the book.
Why
Can
not
I say that on
go
your
for
show?
it? I guess. No, you can't.
We'll lose our sponsors.
We have no sponsors.
No, the book is called Pieces of a Puzzled Mind. And across the bottom it says you can't judge a book by its author. So that gives you a clue that it's not real serious. But what was the one, the most popular one of all is it says you don't have to kiss anyone's ass in this world. But sometimes it's best to bend a little bit and make them think you're going to.
Okay.
That was it. People said, I want that framed on my desk.
Well, no, last night at dinner, you said some people just don't realize how hard you had to work to do, because I was complimenting you on everything that you've done, which you go on and on and on. And if you haven't done it and been there, I know what you mean. It
is. There's a lot of work behind, as Dolly says, it costs a lot of money to look this cheap.
Okay.
You got to go through a lot of rough times to be funny, to make a situation funny. You know that. I mean, you can take a serious situation. The best thing to do is to laugh about it, And so, it takes
but you're a living example of that today. I mean, this is great. Let's ask.
One for our people, our age, which is, by the way, our generation's still the most important generation ever. I know that. But there was one, my favorite one. It said, "No one can tell you when you're over the hill, because no one but you knows which hill you're climbing."
Oh, I love that.
And you and I are climbing that great.
I love that.
Jeannie, can we get your book on your website?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay,
you're
let's
so
list
good
it there.
at this.
So because I would like to have a copy of that book.
I can't believe I forgot to bring you one. Anyway, JeannieSeely.com. Also on the music, because we are technically up to date. They can also, what do I say, Bev? It's like you can download wherever you get digital music.
Oh, gosh.
So that's perfect.
Hey, Jeannie, you're good too. I know what you say. What you were telling us some of the Jeannieisms, and you say last night or Seelyisms, you'd say, I really, this word shouldn't be in there. But then you do it, and it's okay because it fit in with what you were saying. Can you tell them about the car?
Oh,
the drivers.
My license plate.
When you got called in again?
Yes, one of the.
What is wrong with you, child? Can't you stay straight?
It's like the other night that we were going to take a picture backstage at the Opry, without our mask on, which is against the rules. And somebody said, "Well, I don't want you to get in trouble." And I said, "I have been called on the carpet so many times here at the Opry. That's why they've got all hardwood floors." They did away with that carpet. But what was it? Oh, about my license plate. Yes, I had on my tour bus, the roller where you can roll stuff up on the destination sign. I had bullshit on my bus, And then later, somebody made a license plate for the front of my car with
that on
it.
there.
So I had that on there. And I had a parking place off to the side backstage at the Opry. And Mr. Acuff, Roy Acuff, for all of you fans out there, Mr. Acuff came in one day and he said, Miss Jeannie, well, I personally see the humor in your license plate, and I would not ask you to change it. But he said, we have a lot of children come in here and out of Opryland Park, and I would ask you if you would please just pull forward into the bushes. So they changed my parking place over to where I had to pull in with the bushes into the building. But I got to keep my license plate. And my brother is retired, Bernie Seely, out there somewhere in Arizona. We never know where he is, but that's on the front of his motorhome.
Is it? Okay. Well, you call it like it is. All right, here's another question. Let me just see who this is from. Okay. This is very important. You know a lot of people in the music industry. And this is written in from Paula Tunstall Ellis. Ask Jeannie, does she know Charles Barkley?
Charles Barkley.
Have you heard of Charles Barkley?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah, he's in sports. I don't remember which.
What? May we have some basketball? You're exactly right.
Hey,
Well,
I live with a left brain. I have to watch whatever he's going to
what do you know about Charles Barkley?
Almost won the national championship year he was senior.
War Eagle.
Well, War Eagle to you. He did play for Auburn. Yes. Well, actually, what he's really doing too is he's funny. And people like and he's on those commercials. So I've asked people, everybody that comes on, I say, do you know Charles Barkley? And the looks I get from people are just like, no. I'm so glad you didn't say yes. He's sung several songs that I like. but
I hasn't yet.
And he was the second most person that I've tried to get come and be on my show. You were the first.
Oh my goodness.
But Charles has not.
Well, Charles, it's not that hard. You just get,
just don't sing to tracks. Patrick will mess things up for you.
Oh, Patrick, you've been over here working since Wednesday. I don't know what happened. You had gone into the kitchen. Now she had said she wanted you to sing. Beverly, you said you wanted him to sing.
Of course, yeah.
And now you're wondering, I wonder if they're going to cut me. Absolutely.
They're going to cut my guitar strings.
That's why he cut the track off, so I cut my song short so he has room. I know.
Get your guitar in. Here's the Carol Fort, F-O-R-T, from Wilmington, North Carolina. This stuff, and there's also people in here that ask it another way. Do you have a favorite song of all the songs in country music? Do you have a favorite? It could be yours or somebody else.
Well, actually, of mine, the one that will always mean the most to me is Don't Touch Me, because it truly changed my life and allowed me to see my dreams come true. But two of my favorite songs, and it's kind of a toss-up, are both written by Willie Nelson. One is Crazy and one is Funny How Time Slips Away. I love both of those songs, and the reason is because they're so relaxing.
Okay.
And they say something so strong. Both the messages are so real and so strong, but the melodies are so relaxing. Okay. And I talked to Willie one time about it, and I said, you must be a Floyd Tillman fan, because I'm a big fan of the songwriter Floyd Tillman. He said, you listen to Crazy and Funny How Time Slips Away. He said, you can hear Floyd Tillman in them. So that's probably why. Floyd Tillman wrote, I gotta have my baby back. My song.
Oh my gosh. All right. One more question, and then Patrick, we'll let you. We want you to sing. I don't like it. All right.
Your mic is on, right?
Hello. I think it is. Okay. I must have turned mine off. When I turned mine off, did I hurt your?
Yes.
Oh, you lie through your teeth.
People keep saying Jeannie's mic's off. I'm like, which one?
Yeah.
Okay, this is tricky. This is very tricky. This is Gene Black, a guy from Alabama, writes questions every week. They're always good. Question for Jeannie Seely. Who has been your favorite person? See, when is it to sing with as a duet? That's tricky because, see, you got to be careful. You know this.
Gene Black.
No, but
That's who you said?
He asked the
Black
question.
is
you
his
know
name?
a Gene Black?
I just want to know who he's trying to get me in trouble.
I know. I know it. Forget
I
it.
just did
You know what?
Gene, listen to me. I did a whole album, a new album with duets. How can I say that?
Oh, no, you can't.
I
And you
can't.
know what? I can learn from young people too. You are canceled. So
That's the cancel culture right there.
That's the cancel.
Somebody asked if you ever met Patsy Cline.
No, I didn't get back to Nashville before Patsy was killed. I wish that I would have. And of course, so many of my friends that I met were close friends of hers. So I almost feel like I did. And then, of course, my ex-husband wrote several of her hits. So, yeah, our lives were intertwined there. I wish that I could have known Patsy. I know I'd have loved her.
Yeah.
Wow. Patrick, will you sing your song for us?
I'd be delighted to.
How come Patrick doesn't get any rough questions?
Watch.
How come?
No, let's see if the mic grows off on Patrick.
I get lots of we'll call it love on the internet. Well, Bill Jackson was the hardest working man I'd ever known. 6 days a week you'd find him out there in between the rows. Sundays he'd lay down the plow, and after church he'd rest. Then he'd thank the Lord for giving him the things he loved the best. Like his family and his favorite dog, a T-bone steak cooked rare, tractor and his pickup truck, well-worn rocking chair. 3 old friends he's counting on to help him through the years. That's Jesus Christ, Hank Williams, and John Deere. Well, I don't expect I'm ever gonna fill Bill Jackson's shoes, and I ain't sure that he'd agree with everything I do. But all the things he taught me still go with me down the line. Oh, and as I look around me, I feel Grandpa by my side. In my family and my favorite dog, a T-bone steak cooked rare, a tractor and my pickup truck, his old rocking chair. 3 old friends I'm counting on to help me through the years. That's Jesus Christ, Hank Williams, and John Deere. And the friends he introduced me to help me through the years. That's Jesus Christ, Hank Williams, Merle Haggard, and the Possum, Jeannie Seely, Waylon Jennings, and John Deere. You should have told me to not forget the second verse.
Did you write that?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you ought to send that to John Conley.
If only I had a connection with John Conley.
Oh, well, I happen to know where he lives.
I figured you did.
I know where his locker.
No, but I will do this right now, Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great.
We
Yeah.
have the one up here. Well, I don't see it.
Well,
But
when you get a
this
break,
is
I have
the,
something for you.
The audio version of the book.
Yeah, the one that happens to be
7 hours and 20 minutes in the closet upstairs.
the one that happens to be for sale right here.
And we give one of these away. and
Okay.
they can do that. And if you, which camera do you don't want now like me and look in back?
Oh, I don't
This
know.
way, that
Just look in
way,
that
this
one.
way. May I point out, we started a year ago with one cell phone and me sitting in a chair. Now we have cameras all over everywhere.
You've gone big time.
We're huge.
But if you know somebody who's still in a home or listening and can't get out, which happens to many of us now, although it may get better soon, this is a great place if you win this and you don't want 7 hours and 20 minutes to hear me read my own book with a Southern accent that is natural for me. then please take it over and let some others have it and let them laugh, and that would work too. How much time do we have left? We got so many things. I have so many questions.
1 minute.
1 minute. 1 minute.
But I want you to have, I have a present.
Wait. She's got something for me.
Yes, I do have something for you.
We got something.
I'll hold your microphone.
Okay, you hold that one. Okay. I open it here.
Yeah. It's just,
What is this? It's on. We got it now. Nashville Brenda. Oh my gosh! Is this your shirt?
yes, it
Is it
is.
extra large? Could you tell them about? No, never mind. That might not be good.
Well-
Oh, I love this. Look at this. Brenda Ole Opry. Did you steal this?
I don't have to answer that.
I know. Well, you
And
and look.
that goes with it to go, so you can.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much. Well, guess
Yeah.
what? This is gonna get almost.
microphone.
Wait.
Turn it on.
This is gonna get. It's on. Y'all keep telling me that. It's up on.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so too. Look. No, I love this, and I love this pen. Tony or Lynn or one of you jumping into action. Okay. We have a present for you too, but we're not gonna do it up big. That means we're not gonna light the candles.
And I brought you
Oh.
a CD, and I brought you one of the CDs of written in song. That's the one of that I wrote all the songs on there.
Oh my gosh.
And this is from my left brain. It's his video of his jokes and his stories.
Are you a speaker? Well, she's been wonderful today, but she hadn't been that funny. Move over, let him know I'm here. No, you're a storyteller. Gene, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And you have your own, the Springer Mountain Fresh Chicken.
Yeah.
Gene Ward, jokes from,
What?
and you're from Tennessee. We would call it White Plain, but you call it White Plain. And then some. And here are the stories back here. You didn't tell us this at supper last night. You didn't have a chance to. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jeannie. Happy birthday to you. Da, 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 da. And it's Jeannie with an I.
There you go.
Hey,
You know-
Tony or Lynn,
Yeah.
we think we will not cut this cake. See how pretty it is?
It's
We're going. It's even real. But we're going to put it back in the box and send that to the beach with you. Because are you
Oh,
going to
okay.
the beach?
You saw the look on Jean's face. We're not gonna cut it.
And
Oh,
next time you
thank
come, I want you to do. I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah.
She said he has some good stories, but that would like me saying Left Brain sings in the shower. He's really not a singer. But you've got your own, and it's named Fresh Chicken because of that chicken sitting back on that picture with you. Y'all are a delight, and your friends are too. And what do I want? You can have everything I have. Everything I have, just take it away. And we do have a Jeannie Seely.
Give the audiobook away.
Yeah. the
Got
audio.
distracted.
Because I didn't have one. This is the audio book. This is our most expensive item. This is the item that Patrick gets a percentage of, that we only give away one a time. So help a poor, young, struggling. This is the person who's going to win the 7-hour and 20-minute book. And it is, excuse me, y'all,
Good catch.
Julie McCamey. Please get that last paper. Oh, Don, my accountant is here. He and his wife love Ricky Skaggs. That is.
Yes.
You're my accountant. And I wrote yesterday that I just didn't get, I got everything turned into you, but one thing. And this woman wrote this, Julie McCamey, and you have now won this wonderful item. Please get that last paper finished. Take it to the tax office. I work at a tax office, and your preparer, that would be you, your preparer cannot even start your taxes without that last thing. And the closer to the due date you turn it in, the busier we get. Okay.
Right.
So thank you for fussing at me. That's this. Next week, this show will happen from the back porch of Jane Tucker from New York City, but now living in Savannah, Georgia. So we're heading down there, and she helps me with my clothes, but she's about to give up. I just can't be helped. Tony, did you wave your hand? This is the first time you haven't asked a question. I was so floored. We sat here and said, who can we possibly invite to be on the show? And I said, well, Jeannie Seely's nice to me at the Grand Ole Opry. What do I have to lose? Do you remember me saying that, Tony? What do I have to lose? And I wrote her, and you wrote right back and said, we'd love to. Yeah. Then you said, how close do you live to Emerald Isle? And I realized our best friends are in Emerald Isle, and we're going on vacation. And you just wrote off that trip, didn't you? Yeah. Right, Dawn? She just wrote off that trip. Hey, everybody, keep laughing. Have a great weekend. We didn't get to many of your questions because I was so fascinated with, and I'm sure you were too. And all of y'all that came, thank y'all for picking them up and bringing and taking over. And I met you at Chowan College in 1964 when I was there, and you were hurt, and you were my escort, weren't you? Thank you very much.
Do you want to
I
explain
appreciate
escort?
Escort means, I will explain escort. It means that I was there to speak and that you couldn't play football and it was homecoming and you met me and escorted me.
There you go.
And you were a freshman.
It's a small world.
It's a small world.
Very small world.
That's a name for a great song.
Yeah, I have a request.
Okay.
I want to come back and don't talk about my records and let's just sit and tell stories and laugh.
Well, we did last night. I was thinking we'd do that today, but I tell you, I'm so fascinated with what you've done and what you've done for people in your profession. Do you know a Jeannieism that's clean enough for you to tell? A Seelyism closing out the show? Nah, not really. Okay. Okay.
Get the book.
Get the book. Right, Bev, her publicist is here too. Hey, y'all have a great week. And if you see somebody that doesn't have a smile, you are now appointed to be the person to give them one. Thanks, Jeannie, so much.
She's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson. Oh, she's a heck of a lot